Beautiful
How's that doing?
April 24th, Friday, April 24th. How's your quarantine going, Jared?
It's going, man. It's going. As we were just talking about, you know, here with my girls. So it's a day at a time, just like everybody else. It's going. How about yours?
You can see I got this guy behind me,
Right.
Ferdinand, right?
It's crazy at times, right? But it's good.
Yeah,
It's
it's
good.
good. But right now we've been where are we going every day? Tell Jared where we're going every day. What do we do every day? We go out and do what? Don't whisper. He said hike. He said
Hike.
we hike. Yeah, we hike every day. What do you guys try and do every day? You got four girls. What are you guys doing? What are you
Right.
girls doing?
Four girls. Crazy. Not as crazy as the summer of 2002 when Mark Wentz moved into the Opfer household, but it can get that crazy sometimes. Uh, we go something hiking too. It's not your hiking, but the Castalia Quarry here. I don't know if you've ever been there. I'm 101.
That's actually really cool. I used to
Yeah,
run there for track.
yeah. It's pretty cool for around here. It's really nice. Sorry if I'm swatting. I gotta fly him out this year, but
I think you're
yeah.
gonna
What we've
live.
been doing, we got a range of girls, but so we try to stay busy. We got just got pigs. They do 4-H county fair, so they just got hogs. So go down to the family farm. My wife, obviously, the uppers aren't not farm people, but my wife's family. So they go down, hang out with the pigs, all that fun stuff. So
Where do you do the pigs at? Are they who has the farm? Whose farm is it?
it's on 101 is my wife's family's farm, right by Erie Blacktop. Laren Weichel, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's straight across the street from him. They have a family farm, barns and all that stuff. They have all kinds of fair animals and things with their cousins and things like that. So
Don't
they're always
Hermeses have a barn over there?
who's that?
Hermes.
Yeah, they're on Route 4. Yeah, their farms on Route 4. So that's more in Sandusky, but or it's just a little more east.
It's just a couple miles away, isn't it?
Big farm. What's that? I'm sorry.
It's just a couple miles away, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, around the corner. Right around the corner. So,
Nice.
Yep, they do the fair stuff too. Jasoners, yeah, Davies boys and Jason's, and Jason's a big supporter actually of the fair. So
Good. So a lot of fair stuff, a lot of 4-H stuff, and the other thing is like when you look at it, there's like there's all types of different. They got to be careful with. We're in the middle of a pandemic. A lot of animals. An animal, obviously, that started with a bat, right?
right.
So you got to be real careful. Yeah, because the animals oftentimes are carriers.
Right. Yeah, so no, it's just the family in there, or my father-in-law, and you got to you hear these stories, same thing. They catch these illnesses that we can't catch or can catch, and it's crazy. I don't know anything about it, but you hear these stories of how it works, and the whole state fair and all this, and how it works, and there's a plan behind it. It kind of opens my eyes to how that works. How sometimes like how people are oblivious to how wrestling works.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that's why you do that. So there's some strategy of get this type of animal and do this with them and things like that. So
there's like hand, foot, and mouth. There's swine disease, swine flu. There's hoof and mouth. There's all these crazy. No, yeah, it's nuts, dude.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So, Jared, how long have you been working with OAC, Ohio Athletic Committee? How long have you been working with them?
I think it was 2009. I came back to town here, started working with them. So a little over 10 years. Been involved with them. So it's been a while, longer than I thought. Now that I think about it.
Okay, so when you look at it, the organization started in '99 or '98.
Yeah, my senior year. Yeah. My senior year of high school, they started, obviously like a year prior, they started planning for it, but yeah, it started in 99. So, this would have been the 22nd year. So it's crazy, how it's changed over the years.
And then it just started with a junior high championship, didn't it, Jared?
Yeah, junior high. Actually, we've been going through the years, last couple of years. Started in '99. It was a 16-man bracket the first year, and 1-day tournament, and then it's funny you see the progression. Then it goes to a 2-day, and they add some weight classes. But yeah, just started with 16 weight classes in the junior high, and then the grade school started I think 5 years later. People are like, all right, you guys are doing this well. You guys should add something for the youth, and that's kind of when they started that, and that started with just a handful of weights and ages. They didn't do the 6U. It was just 8U, 10U, and 12U, and you had the weight classes and the qualifiers. It used to be whoever had the biggest district got the extra guy. Kind of like when we were in high school, right? Our district
5 and 3. I took 5th in the district one year.
Right. Yeah. So it's so that's how it was. They started out that way. Now it's kind of spaced out and equal. But yeah. So dude, how crazy that Preston match, huh? That was district, right?
That was like the second round or the third round at the district of consolation.
Jeez.
And then
Dang,
he came back the next year.
Dude.
He was playing basketball.
Nick Preston was a stud. You were a stud.
Yeah, but he came back and won 171. He beat Didion in the finals the next year from Bellevue.
Right.
So he was just Nick Preston was a freak athlete, obviously.
Right.
And if you watch that match, 9 stall calls in 4 minutes and 20 seconds.
Nice.
And if you watch it, we're not really stalling. We're just trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
To gain the officials' approval, I guess. I don't know.
It's wild.
It is wild.
This year's district came across the bracket. Someone had some old district bracket from the 80s. It was pretty wild. Going back to, I think your brother was in there, and just the names and how they organize things, and it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Going back looking at old stuff. So.
Old school stuff is fun to look at. And, I found those dual meets. Actually, to open the QuickTime video here to do the screen recording, I have a Jared Opfer video in the dock. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring that up on the screen real quick. People will be able to see it on the broadcast. It's 2002. Jared Opfer. I'm playing it over the screen. Oh man, look at that guy. You'll be able to see it on the live broadcast. This is who we're talking to right now. That's Jared in the.
I can't see it.
I know.
What it is.
It's the Universe American University. It's like you weighed in on the moon.
What?
You weighed in on the moon. Hold on, just wait.
That guy was small, so it's not really fair to. That guy was really small. I remember his name.
Yeah, you look like a monster.
It's really not apples to apples. He was really small.
The guy was a peanut, huh?
Yeah, like he was like Saban, like Saban. Really
Yeah,
small.
a little guy, like 100, like a guy who placed at 112 as a senior.
Right.
Yeah, like
so that video is not really.
Dude, you're massive in the video. You're huge at 125.
Drew was big too. My brother. Drew was pretty big. It might have been his big old head, but.
But Drew was a 33 that year, and then Drew cut to 25. The rest of the, you guys flip flopped.
My senior year, yeah, we switched. So.
Jared, you wrestled D1. You wrestled D1. How many times you qualified for NCAAs? Once or twice?
Twice.
And then
sophomore, junior year.
Did you won the MAC once and then wild carded?
Yeah, and then we won junior year.
And then wild carded. Okay, and then 33 as a senior, right?
Right.
Okay. It's wild because first thing, man, D1 wrestling's no joke.
No, not a joke at all. Coming from St. Mary's, small school St. Mary's, and a lot of people don't know. I took my recruiting trip with you. Like you were a big factor when I went to Kent. Really big factor. It's a big decision, but yeah, NCAA D1's no joke. So it was crazy times at Kent.
Was it a different? Like you and your brother were 57-0. You guys had like the national record for a while. You guys were 57-0. You're senior in his sophomore year. And then he really chased a lot more competition than you in high school.
Yeah, it was kind of, I think they were figuring out. I was the first kid through. My dad was figuring things out. You know how it is with four boys. You do one thing with your oldest, then you figure, okay, this is how we. You change as a dad or a coach, and he wrestled Harry Lester senior year, I think.
He went to Medina. He went to, I don't know if he went to Ironman, but he would have.
He won Medina his senior year and beat Wooten in the finals, and then I think was it Jermaine Thompson ended up being D1. Or Wooten was D2 champ. Thompson was D1 champ. And they were all in his Medina weight. I think all 6 state finalists were in that weight or something crazy. Something wild at Medina.
Yeah.
He was actually in that crazy senior nationals weight.
Oh, that's right.
He took 8th there. He had him and Simmons had a barn burner match. I remember.
Joe Dubuque was at the weight.
What's that?
Joe Dubuque at the weight too?
Dubuque, Travis Lee, Simmons. Who else? Kid from California. Vasquez, maybe?
Oh, yeah. Hey, I got to pause real quick. Let me take Ferdinand. Okay. I got to get Ferdinand set up real quick. Give me 20 seconds. I got to get this guy.
All good, dude.
Don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere.
I'm right here.
Let's go. Yep. Hurry. It's going to be Scooby-Doo or something. Or no, mini force. There you go. No, mini force. All right, Ferdy was getting a little nuts there and a little restless, Jared.
That's all right. I get it, dude. I get it, man.
How old are your daughters? What are the ages of all of them?
I have 7th grader, 5th grader, and twin kindergartners.
Oh my goodness!
It's the perfect storm, and I'll have 18, 16, and 2 12-year-olds in a few years, which is gonna be nuts. But
#, girl dad.
Yeah, I'm girl dad, but it's awesome. I love it, man.
Okay.
My wife's awesome.
So you make this adjustment from. Did I remember watching videos of you headlocking, pinning 10 guys in the first period?
Right.
You just mauled everybody. Was it weird to go to the next level and kind of just be a little bit? I mean, you were probably 20-5 as a freshman.
Right. Yeah, it's a big adjustment. You go in from every day, you're trying to, push yourself in a way in a small, Division III room, and then you go to, NCAA Division I, and you kind of figure it out, and you just kind of figure it out. It was a big adjustment. So it was, kind of live and learn and things like that. But it was a big adjustment. And like I was saying earlier, Drew would see more competition, and then obviously Corey and Troy were doing their own thing, but we're all kind of different. But it was a big adjustment.
Did you catch a lot of beatings? I can't remember because I was in the other end of the room.
Beating, Thompson and Boffman, man, coming in. Boffman was tough. Thompson was slick. They made me adjust real quick.
Dude, you guys won the MAC.
Adjust real quick, right?
Yeah, you won the MAC at 125 6 years in a row.
Yeah. Kent did pretty well.
Yeah, 125. I mean, they've had some really good guys. Jared, when you look at it, you probably could have gone to the Big Ten. Are you glad you didn't go into the Big Ten or the Big 12 or ACC?
Yeah, I was glad where I'm at, where I went, and I think it. Like I said earlier, going there, you being there, I was real comfortable with that. yeah, I wouldn't change a minute of it. Some good friends, good times, good experience. I was looking at a few other places, but not that seemed like the right fit for me. I don't have any regrets going there or anything, and I got lifelong friends from there. I wouldn't change a thing. So I liked it. I liked it there.
Everybody's so hyper focused on their kid being D1. Your youth organization. I mean, dude, you've had Jay Jaggers win the title there. You've had the Steebers win. You've had Chris Phillips win. My nephew Ian won there. I mean, Nathan Tomasello never won your tournament. Ben Darmstadt never won your tournament. I mean, the Palmers, right? I mean, I can just keep going. They won your tournament. It's the who's who among Ohio wrestling. Who's won your tournament? And D'Amelio and the Crace kid had a great rivalry at your tournament.
Right.
Decatur's in there too. Yeah, the Decatur's. Geez, and then I look now. I like watching Timmy Mazer versus Gray Burnett are some of my favorite matches to watch. Them at the districts and then in the state finals. Those guys are amazing. Logan Hours, that's another guy who won a bunch. Who's in high school now. The list goes on and on. Alex Marinelli,
Yeah.
So Jared,
some of his videos here recently.
Yeah, and I love that. And I'm a big part of the media end of Ohio Athletic Committee and OAC. If it's gone through OAC, it's basically gone through me since 2008.
Right. We knew you from the get. Obviously, like I said, before college, right? We knew each other from junior high and
middle school track, Jared. Middle school track, buddy.
Right. You were like lapping everybody in the mile, pretty much, right?
You were in a relay. I remember maybe running against you in a relay.
I wasn't very good in track. I was just kind of there. Actually, my dad put me in track. He's like, "You got to learn how to run." That's why I did track.
So in OAC, you've had the who's who, right? And literally, when I say Palmer, we know that Wayne the Pain or Dwayne Palmer, probably one of the highest level, next level crazy dads, right? But it kind of worked out for Lance Palmer's making. He's won $2 million tournaments.
Right.
He's a good guy. I like him. I'd let that guy coach my kids. Colin Palmer, I'd let him coach my kids. They know wrestling. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you talk about that a lot. And you always talk about parents and the D1 fixation. And hey, understand, be kind to officials and be a good person. Teach your kids the lessons of sport. I think that's the big thing. And you guys give a lot of scholarships and you bring a lot of people back. And you had a guy die at a tournament 2 years ago. And then all the first responders, Guy Seiko and Mike Matten were two of them, saved the guy's life. I mean, you guys are an organization about the right things. You're about like getting kids lots of competition. How do you keep that balance between the really super ultra competitive parents that you have? Moran's been at the tournaments. Carson Karchel.
He's come around too. He used to be really intense at these, and he's kind of changed. We all changed, but so you're asking how to balance that the parents that are.
How do you balance the ultra competitive parents who think, oh, my kid's getting a D1 scholarship, which you and I know how rare those are. It's going to get more rare now.
Oh, more rare,
yeah.
How rare that's going to be, but yeah, we balance that. We put the rules in place, and actually, it's come a long way from we talked at the start of '99, but it's come a long way for parents too, and parents are learning too. It's not just the wrestler ring. You wouldn't believe the difference. I'm sure you see it. You said you've been there for years, but just from the junior high weekend to the grade school, or a junior high district to the grade school district, the difference. By junior high, most parents kind of figure it out how to deal with their anxiety, right, and their anticipation. From the grade school. In grade school, they're still figuring out. I think Rob Gore mentioned, he dealt with it by videoing, and that's why he's still videoing. That's how he handled watching his kid wrestle because, he'd get anxiety and things like that. I don't want to speak for him, but, something along those lines. But, from our end, we just got to remind the parents, it's exhibition at the youth level. Even, some people say junior high, obviously keep score. You want to know, what do you need to work on? But, we don't even keep track of multiple time grade school titles. People, hey, I was X time, I was a 5-time grade school champ. Where's that rank me or whatever? It's like, we don't even keep track of grade school. It's all exhibition for the next level. And, you see those phenoms that are real good when they're little, and sometimes they pan out, like the Palmers, and other times they don't. And it's a long road, long journey. And, that's getting back to the thing with, Kent State. I was pretty fortunate with my dad, when making those decisions of, college and, life. He was pretty supportive, and he played dad. He didn't play coach. And that's what some of these kids need. And sometimes dads can't play coach and dad, and they don't figure that out until junior high, or it's too late when the kid quits. So you got to, as a parent, kind of self-reflect. Do I want to be coach? Do I want to be dad? Do I want to be dad coach? Some guys can do it. Some guys can do it well. Where other guys, they got to figure it out. Okay, I'm just going to be dad. My dad figured that out. I'm going to be dad, and that's the best thing that helped us, on and off the mat. So it's just, parents got to figure it out for themselves. We try to put rules in place at the OAC. We know that it's hard to retain officials as it is. So it's, here's the rules that we want to keep it a civil match, and, look at the big picture, but it's not always easy, right? We kind of, when your kid's out there, you're going to see it in a few years. It's a different beast you got to conquer. I remember watching my little brothers and, having that anxiety and stress level that I didn't have beyond when I wrestled. It's out of your control. So you just got to learn how to deal with it. So,
Ed Opfer, Julie Opfer, your parents, two of the best people I know. I'm really glad that, I got in with you guys 25, 30 years ago, just like as
you're one of my mom's favorites. You know that, right?
Yeah, just like, but great people, man, just really good people, hardworking, blue collar people. You guys all lived in this attic of this. Right. You lived in an attic of the store now. It's the store. It's the storefront for Sandusky. Is it Sandusky Home and Blinds? Have you rebranded again?
My dad, yeah, he's wasn't college educated. Went to Toledo for a quarter or semester, whatever it was back then, for engineering. He's a pretty smart guy, self-taught, but he came back, started installing floors for this guy. It was Sandusky Home Interiors, and then during the they did all kinds of stuff. Wallpaper, furniture, flooring, blinds, yada, yada, yada. And, the business evolved. My dad eventually bought him out, moved the business from downtown Sandusky out to Cleveland Road, right by Cedar Point, right? Built the business, built our residence on top, but now it's S&H Blinds and Floors, late 2000, when the last, 2008, 2009 hit, they kind of rebranded, Sandusky Home Interiors, they'd get calls, what are you? And they rebranded to S&H Blinds and Floors. And now they do a lot of window blinds and flooring commercial. Actually, I was just talking to somebody about this. They're doing guys blinds at his new place.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they do. It's crazy, not to get off subject, but yeah. So my dad's, they did Clay City Schools. That's up by you. They did back in 2000.
My mom and dad are Clay grads.
Right. They did the whole. So they do, commercial. They did Jeff Leonard's house. They do. They can ship. They ship down to Tanner Shear, and he had someone else and stuff. But anyways, yeah, we grew up above the shop, the business. My dad was a pretty smart guy, with that, and he's still getting after it. But smart guy. I was really fortunate, have him as a dad. My mom, even, she was actually a pretty athletic one and feisty one, so it was a good mix.
So your mom is actually a Roth,
right?
Okay,
right.
And then your uncle Jude was your high school coach, and Jude was one of the guys who co-started OAC with your dad, right? Am I getting that correct?
Right. Yep. Jude, my dad, and Mark Heemstra. There's a lot of other guys, but those are kind of the three main guys. They they started it. They were running 1 million tournaments a year, and they were pretty efficient, and they knew whose job and role was what, and it takes a lot of different people to make that work. So they had the strategy of how to make that work. But yep, so my mom was a Roth, bunch of brothers. Her one brother, Brad, he wrestled actually at Mount Union. So it's she was pretty athletic. I guess she was really good in softball, basketball. Everyone tells me, it's funny. My dad always reminds us that's where we got our athletic ability from. Not that we have a ton, but he won't take any credit. So
what's wild about that is your uncle, Jude, who was your guys' coach. You were never on a championship team. Your brothers all were.
Right. We took second, third, and we won state duels, but that's not the same. It's not. I mean, it's cool, but it wasn't the same back then.
Yeah, because it was another association.
Second. The year we took third was actually closest to taking first, but
that's crazy. Yeah. And then Drew's team won.
And they reeled off. Yeah, Corey and Troy were on a champion team every year. Drew was on 3, maybe.
That's crazy.
No, he couldn't. He was just on the 1.
You built the foundation for that, though. Like, honestly, I mean, not even being like a jerk, but you really were the foundation of it.
Yeah, my dad did. My dad built.
And your uncle.
Not my dad, but Jude, Mark, my dad. With the 4 brothers, kind of. There's a lot of family. The Whalen family. They had, some studs in there.
Hey, Connor Whalen kicked the tar out of me one year when I was a freshman. He kicked the tar out of me. And then that same year, he pinned Tate in the SBC finals.
But I remember
him and Chad Long used to collect Miller scalps.
No, Tate was up, 13?
14 points. He was tech falling him.
I was there, Fort Clinton. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Tate, man. How'd Wyatt end up so normal?
He's a mutant, too, though.
Compared to Tate.
Well, he's mild-mannered. He's a nice kid.
He's a super nice kid.
Yeah, I was talking to Joe Williamson about him last night, and I was like, Joe, because I was going to bring Joe in for the Ohio State tournament this year to help me do the coverage.
Right.
He was like, I was just so excited to work with you. And I was like, and I even said it to him. I'm like, well, dude, I was going to be watching most of the time. I was going to be up in the stand. Well, at least for Division III, I'd have been up in the stands in the beginning of Division II, probably. Right. Which really takes away from. And then he was like, "You haven't watched the tournament in forever." Well, that's not true because I was at the district tournament in Napoleon, and I watched.
Match, right?
Yeah, I watched. That's the most I've watched a tournament without a camera. In years. And then I still did some interviews with some of the champs afterwards.
I saw you in the corner down there, right?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Herms.
Guys.
Yeah, and it's just. And that's crazy because you're a head coach too. You're a head high school coach too.
Right. Well, we got a good group of guys helping out. My brother Corey and Rick Bellamy and Chad Rosine. So we got guys that help. So they take, when I'm busy with the OAC stuff or family stuff, they pick a lot of that up. So it's, you got to have a group of guys. So
Jared, you guys evolved from the Sandusky St. Mary's Central Catholic High School program in Northwest Ohio. You guys evolved out of that, right? You evolved out of the PAW, Panther Athletic Amateur Wrestling.
The same group of guys started PAW in the mid-'80s, and that was the only club in the area. I mean, I forget how many hundreds of kids they had or involved in that, but it was the only youth program in the area. Kind of like probably West Shore was to the Cleveland area. It was the only program, so a lot of guys came to the PAW program and competed through that. And there was, the Perkins kids or Sandusky kids or the Margaretta kids. So that started mid-'80s. And then when that came, those kids started coming up through, 92 through 2007, those PAW kids, that's where they paid dividends at the high school. It's some crazy stats. So from 92 to 2007, they were top 9 in the state every year and top 5 every year, but 3 or something. I don't know, something crazy. But that's all from the PAW, that same group of guys that started the PAW program.
And, so that's what OAC spun out of PAW, essentially. So that's St. Mary's Central Catholic and PAW, which were, one was the youth feeder to the high school, right?
Right. So it was the local club, any school could go to it, but they were running tournaments. I think my junior year, they ran like 8 tournaments or something. They ran the SBC, or it'll be my freshman. Hey, they ran SBC, our Panther Classic, right? O'Carver used to come to that. D3 duels, our dual meet tournament. They ran a sectional. They ran a biddy tournament. So they run all these tournaments, and they kind of, we're going to these national tournaments or regional tournaments, and they were like, we can put something together. And that's where the junior high state idea came from when they were trying these tournaments, and they figured, we can run something, a quality tournament. And they seen the void where you went from a conference, right? Where did you go? I mean, after you wrestled SBC in junior high, what'd you do? Freestyle, or what?
Yeah. I mean, I went right into track and split it with freestyle. I played baseball too.
Right. Did you?
Yeah, I played baseball.
I played when I was a little.
I remember I would go from track practice. George Bergman would have wrestling workouts, and then I would go out to baseball practice with Tim Harbaugh had a team one year that I played on. Jeff Harbaugh, the head coach, or the principal at Perkins.
Jeff.
His dad had a team, and I played on that team for 1 or 2 summers, and I balanced all that, and it was just like total madness, man. Just like life was just, yeah, I mean, but you know what? You got so much energy.
Did, right?
What's that?
Like what our parents did, I remember running track at Margaretta Relays or something, then getting in the car and driving to TOC that night and getting weighed in or something, Well,
dude, it's just what like you said this. You've told me this before. Parents will do anything for their kids. They don't skimp on their kids. They'll always do whatever it takes. You guys have posted you post like a meme that you guys post, and it's like, I never understood. My dad wore the same 3 outfits for like forever, and he wore the same shoes, the same outfits, but it was so that their kids could have opportunities and they could afford to take them wherever they wanted to take them. And that's what being a parent's all about, man. I mean, you know that.
That's why we do what we do, right? We kind of learn these lessons, and then we're trying to pass it on,
Well, what bothers me is like when people are like, well, no, they're just creating more tournaments for a money grab. And I'm like, no, they're creating more opportunity. And that's pretty annoying to me, because if it was just a money grab, dude, if it was just about money to me, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
If that's what has to get you up in the morning, you suck, and you're in the wrong sport. I'll tell you that much.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No. Yeah. People think usually, like I said, grade school parents, junior high guys kind of figure it out. Parents kind of figure it out, but with the OAC stuff, I mean, since the beginning, I want to say the beginning, it was like $28 to get into the district. Up until last year, it was $35. So from 99 to 2019, the entry fee only went up $7. If people don't realize, 80% of that money goes back to the host. Like O'Carver had a sectional this year, they're getting 80% of that money. People think it's coming into the OAC. It's like it's going back into O'Carver's program. Or
you're a non-profit.
What's that?
You said you're a non-profit.
Right.
Come on, man. Like a non-profit.
I think St. Paris Graham's a private school, though.
Well, yeah. And the other thing is, what's crazy about it is, if you're a non-profit, all your books are public, aren't they, Jared?
Right.
People can see what you're doing with your money. If they're that worried, go do that. Would you? Right? Am I wrong? Or come on, man. But it's annoying because I always got to defend it to people, and I'm like, you know what? This is America. You have choices, right?
Right. Yeah.
Go to an inferior product, or hey, you know what? Go national. Go to Reno. Go to Tulsa and get literally the same level of competition that you're going to get in Youngstown or at a lot of these districts.
Right.
And now the sectionals. Hey, how about some of the sectionals? Some of the sectionals were bananas.
Right. Some of those weights were, yeah. So yeah, that's another thing. That was the first year for that. It was actually, some of the weights were light. Obviously you're going to have that, but they averaged more kids than the first 3 year of districts. So the first 3 year we had grade school districts. Was a lower number. I think they're like 201, 203, 205 or something. This year, the sectionals average, I think, 215 or 220. Now, then this is the first year for it. People are so, but yeah, it's and that's the thing. If it was a money grab, we just increase the the district price, people are going to go to it, and we want to add the sectionals where we got to pay for awards and staffing.
You're creating more opportunity. There's more opportunities for kids to wrestle.
Right.
I don't know what else to say to people. I'm just like, did your kid get an opportunity to wrestle more?
Try to keep it between season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's irritating to me because, Jared, if I didn't believe in your organization, I wouldn't drive through the night from the NCAAs in St. Louis so I could make it to your tournament. I wouldn't do that.
Well, people end up realizing once, like I said, junior high or once they get to high school, it's just a matter of time usually. It's the youth parents the first time through, just like anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's a battle you got to fight, and there's a lot of people who are super tough on the internet, and then when you're talking to them face to face, they're not super tough anymore. That's kind of annoying to me, but hey, that's our society anyway, right?
Right, and it's going to be new parents each year, and we hope there's new parents each year, right?
Well, yeah.
We hope there's new people coming in,
and those are the people we need
from outside of wrestling, right?
Yeah, we got to keep them. We got to keep bringing more people in and creating interest, and that's why. And my thing is, I'm not like super creative. Like you watch my stuff, it's just like a video. I don't edit a bunch. Right? But when you're relentless and you put a lot of content out there and it's good content, people are gonna watch.
Right? No, they appreciate it.
Yeah.
So on that subject, we're talking about you gotta like it. What's I've always wanted to ask you this. What's your first wrestling memory? When it was like, actually you were kind of like my youngest brother Troy. They were always around wrestling, right, growing up. But like when you're like, oh, this is wrestling.
I remember going to Genoa and Oak Harbor, and I remember my brother Ferd was a state qualifier for Genoa in 1985. So he qualified for Genoa in 85. And then so I remember Ferd, and I remember going to Genoa Junior High. It's actually in Genoa Junior High is actually in Genoa. Well, okay. The old Genoa Junior High is in Genoa on 163. And it's actually kind of like right down the road. It's actually like it's a charter school now. They sold the building, yeah. I don't even know if it's there anymore because I haven't.
I think I did a camp there.
Yes. Yes. When Scotty do you remember I had Scotty with me and we were like fighting?
Yeah.
I had Scotty Burnett with me.
Yeah, wow. That's the school then.
That's the school.
Yeah.
That's the school, and they have a stage. And I remember going and watching Ferd and Chad's dual meets there.
Wow.
And the coach was this guy named Russ Bodie. What's crazy is Ferd and Chad went to middle school. They went to that school.
They both went to Genoa Middle School?
Yeah, and it was like the head coach was like, the head coach of the high school was just kind of like a good old dude, and he wanted to be everybody's buddy. Mm-hmm. And Joe Bergman didn't want to be everybody's buddy, and he wanted to hold my brother accountable, and he was like kind of a mean jerk to my brother, but he understood my brother was he was a killer. Ferd Miller was a killer.
Kind of different angle with everybody.
Yeah, he was mean, but they're like the Bergmans. I mean, obviously, you can see what Bob's done at Genoa. You can see what George has done at Oak Harbor. Joe, which is Bob's dad, the head coach at Genoa. Right. Joe was Ferd and Chad's head coach, and then he was Tate and Mai's junior high coach. Okay. And then him and George flip-flopped, and there was some stuff that happened. And anyhow, long story short is I remember going there. Ferd and Chad had a team. If they could have stayed at Genoa, and the head coach would have been worth anything. I forget the guy's name. He just passed away. I can't think of his name. And he was like, I guess, a real nice guy and like everybody's buddy. But he just wasn't interested in holding the guys accountable. Dude, they would have won Division II or whatever division they would have been in. They would have won. They had Ferd. They had Nick Sanciola. They had Chad. They had a dude that went to Otsego that left, John Meeker. They had my insurance agent, Dane Donaldson.
Dane? I know Dane Donaldson.
Yeah, State Farm. They had all five of these guys. They had a couple other. They had Dane Eppeling.
Wow.
Dude, they would have won, like, in 87, 88, 89, they'd have won at least one title.
And they're all in the same middle school.
All in the same middle school.
Wow.
And then all these guys moved. Dane Donaldson went to Wapakoneta. John Meeker went to Otsego. Ferd and Chad went to Oak Harbor. Dude, they also had the. You know who else was in their middle school? Brian Smolinski. Played in the NHL for like
Really?
10 plus years.
You know names. I don't know names like you.
Dude,
man.
Brian
Like,
Smolinski he played for Michigan State. He was first team All American, and then he was in.
he done well. He was obviously an athlete, right?
Brian Smolinski, they called him Smoke because he could throw the ball. He ran. Dude, I remember going to the track meets. He was on my sister's track and field team. He crushed everybody. Well, it's like what you would think of a guy who's like a Hall of Famer type athlete.
Right.
That was what he was. He went to their middle school.
So they would have for sure,
They would have won.
For sure.
Genoa would have won wrestling, probably football, and something else had my brothers and all the
90s, right?
core group. And this is in the 80s, right? But some things happened. Some real weird stuff happened with my brothers. And my dad donated a bunch of time and energy to helping them build a wrestling room and a bunch of other stuff. And so we left and we went to Oak Harbor. We moved directly across the street, Jared. We moved. I remember moving, and I remember walking next to the truck, holding stuff onto the truck. We moved from, we literally moved the length of my driveway here. You've been to my house. I got a long driveway. We moved that far. It would be like if there were a structure at the end of my driveway, and we moved our stuff to it. And
grab that, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. Like we were walking stuff over, and it's not like you got like a box truck or anything. Yeah, you used like old farm. We had an old blue farm truck, and that's how we moved most of our stuff. And then it worked out well. Obviously, Ferd was a state champ the next year, and then 2-time state champ. Chad was a state champ. Tate was a state champ. I was 5th, and Ian went there. And now obviously Wyatt, and it's been a good fit, but like Genoa's done a great job.
Right.
Bob Bergman and Genoa did what Russ Bodie and I can't remember the guy's name, who the head coach was. He literally just passed away though, but not a bad guy, just a guy who was kind of like, whatever, do what you want.
That spot, right.
Yeah, he wasn't like a type A guy that wanted to keep you know what I mean? Like,
right.
They could have done it in the 80s, what they did. It wouldn't have been at the level they did it last year. What Genoa did last year was 6 champs.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but they would have had 2 or 3, maybe 4 champs,
right.
Which was unheard of then, obviously.
Right.
So, that's there you go. You got me off on a tangent. I remember the Genoa people. I remember my brothers and going to Genoa Junior High where we did that camp. And
that's your first wrestling memory.
I remember that like a lot.
How old were you?
3 or 4.
Wow.
Yeah, it would have been. Yeah, 3 or 4. Ferd would have been in. Yeah, it would have been 87, 83, 84.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I'd have been
3,
4, 5 years old. And then I remember a big duel with Stritch at Stritch.
Oh, those cop back there, right?
Yeah, they were really good. And so the Bergmans were all Stritch guys. Except for the older couple, the older, like, Hank went to, like, St. Francis, and I think Hank went to, like, Vietnam, dude. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, but, like, as far as George, Jim, Joe, those guys all went to,
Stritch.
They all went to Stritch, yeah. And
Durs, right? Didn't all the Durs go to Stritch?
All the Durs went to Stritch, and, dude, Stritch was, like, they were the standard. And actually what happened was Joe Bergman left Stritch because he figured out, you guys don't have a great retirement system, and he got into the STRS, and he went to a public school, which is like Mark Marinelli left Columbus to sales.
Right.
If you were a teacher, you'd probably be in a public school, not at St. Mary's. It's just this is how it goes.
Right.
So yeah, Joe Bergman left Stritch, and he was at Oak Harbor, and then they were lights out early on. He had a 4-time finalist in Greg Goad. You know what I mean? And then
yeah, he was tough.
Just they had guys, man, and they were top 5 in the state every year. But those are my earlier memories. I remember Stritch, and I remember.
I got a little one in here.
No, bring her up. Which one we got here?
Okay. See, wine, and here's the wine and starts. Here,
Hey, just so you know, if you've got to go away, I'm gonna put the match on. I'm gonna put the match on the screen. Like if we break again, I'm just gonna put the match on the screen.
No, I'm good.
So if you gotta leave, don't worry. We're just gonna watch that old school match. That's what people are gonna watch in the meantime.
No, we're good. We're good. They just get competitive. They're definitely like their Graham and Julie. It's funny.
Do they fight a lot?
What's that?
Do they fight a lot?
They get a lot for twins. I'd fight a lot more if I was them. I'll tell you that. Shoot, me and Drew. I guess boys are different, but they get along. I can't complain. They get along, but if there's something to be competitive about, they definitely get competitive.
So you asked me my earliest memory of wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
What's yours?
Like vague memories. I remember going to the SBC tournament. I don't remember what. I think Clyde gym. I think it was Clyde's gym. Real vague SBC tournaments going there. Obviously, biddy practices and things like that. But like first wrestling memory really got me like, oh, this is sweet. This is awesome. I was going in '92, so I was a little bit older then. But going to the state tournament, first time going to Nutter Center, first time, and when Capizzi and Rosine were in the state finals, so that was kind of like the moment, like, oh, this is sweet, So, but yeah, I remember the SBC tournaments. I mean, some of those SBC tournaments were crazy back in some of those weight classes.
Well, another thing, Jared, with my first memories, they took me to the World Cup.
Oh, it was in Toledo?
Yeah. I used to go to the World Cup as like a little kid.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I've actually talked to John Smith about this. I remember he lost. It was either like, who did he lose to? I can't even think who he lost to. And it was just an exhibition, I want to say. But he wasn't ready. And him and his brother Leroy are screaming at each other. And as they're arguing, he's signing our autographs. And then I gave him an OSU and Ohio State hat. And he's like, wrong OSU. And he signed it. He signed the bill on my hat. And he was like, but he was cool. He was super mad about losing. He's obviously one of the most supreme competitors in anything ever.
Right.
But he signed my Ohio State Buckeye OSU hat. And he's like, wrong OSU. And I remember he lost. Dude, listen, I saw Mark Schultz lose. John Smith lose. I want to say Dave Schultz lose. I saw all these guys lose. It wasn't the same World Cup that they all lost at, though.
Okay. But
over the years, the like 5 years they took me to it, dude, it was in Savage Hall. It was perfect.
Wow.
And it was like, I remember the Cubans would come, the Soviets would come, and people would like give them jeans. Apparently they didn't have jeans in Russia, or it was like,
oh, really?
No, yeah, jeans were like gold. Dude, all the way up until us going to Russian Nationals. Levi's, and then they kind of evolved to like Tommy Hilfiger jeans.
That's funny.
Denim, Jared. Denim is gold in Russia, if you didn't know.
I did not know. Now I know.
You didn't know that?
No.
Real thing, like denim. I remember that was the big thing when a lot of those like Eastern Bloc and the Soviets would come. Huh. Jeans. You could go and get jeans. Whatever they had, they'd give it to you. The jeans didn't even have to fit.
Oh, jeez.
It's crazy, right? Like I remember that the jeans was like a huge part of it. And like Joe Grow, as I like to call him now, Joe Williamson, he brought it up. He's like, "Oh,
that last night. I started watching. I haven't finished.
It's just long, yeah."
I kept getting.
But like, if you think about it, like I remember he was like, "Oh, Tommy jeans, Tommy Hilfiger jeans." He's like, "Oh, the Tommy Hilfiger jeans are huge now." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" So it's like, okay, so let's just think about this. Our world's about to really, really, really change, Jared. Yeah. How do you stay nimble and on your feet with OAC and adjust to these times that are about to come?
Yeah. I mean, if you kind of look at what we've done, we make changes all the time, right? It's, events every year we make changes, not just for change's sake, but we kind of, going back to, how we started, you take assess where you're at, let's get a strategy how we can change it for the better. And so we're gonna come back whenever this starts, whatever the new normal or America 2.0, whatever you're gonna call it, and we'll figure, wrestling's not going away, so we'll figure it out, and however the event's got to take place. But yeah, we're nimble enough. We're small enough that we can change. We're not some big, huge organization. We're pretty small, so we're able to make changes on the pretty quickly. So that's all we've been doing for the last how many years, and that's all life is, man. You get variables and you adjust to them, and obviously this is a pretty darn big variable, and it's going to have variables from the big variable, but we'll see how it shakes out, and what that's going to look like for OAC or even wrestling and Ohio wrestling and all that. So
What is the new normal? Do we? Dude, I know that you're not. We don't know everything. That's the thing. Like you and we're learners. I will shut my mouth and listen to what people have to say.
Same here. Same here. I don't know. I don't have that answer. I don't think anybody does. It's just going to be a slow, gradual process of what that's going to be, right? It's going to change. It's going to change a lot of things, and it's probably going to change things that we don't right now. We don't even know now. So,
Jared, what do you think? What do you think the biggest thing in youth sports is that it's going to change? Like what are youth sports going to look like now? Because we're going to have a scaling back of our economy, and like 26 million unemployed people, and it's only going to rise if we stay in quarantine. What's it going to look like for you guys? And as far as events, do events get cut back? What do you do there? Do you know?
No, we don't know at this point. I think youth sports across the board. Hopefully it's just a better appreciation of it. When you don't have something, right, you kind of appreciate it, and hopefully, not just for wrestling, but all youth sports, you kind of have it. He's talking to a buddy, and it's we're talking how he's saying how nice it is. I'm not running this kid to this event or this practice or this, and it's just kind of nice to sit at home and let it soak in for a minute, and hopefully people remember that and kind of appreciate it. What they do have, instead of I'm chasing this next trophy or doing this or trying to push, and hopefully that I don't know, maybe they just bump, who knows, maybe they don't, maybe it just goes back to the old ways, but it's hard to say what that is, but hopefully it's an appreciation of what we do have, and what we have going on, not just wrestling but all sports.
Small businesses, you guys are a small business. Didn't you say that there's like crazy insurances? I don't know if you saw this. Wimbledon, the tournament, they got pandemic insurance, right?
Really?
Yeah, they're going to end up getting like $144 million.
I didn't see that or hear that.
No, Wimbledon got, I remember I just watched this thing. Wimbledon got pandemic insurance. It's a real thing. Wow. You guys got you got some type of insurance that's not going to apply to this. What are people going to do who bought insurance? Right. Like, what's the likelihood that we're going to see tens of thousands of small businesses close, Jared?
Right. I mean, that's potentially could happen. It's hard to say. The insurance, I don't think they know. That's the first I heard that, but some people are, it's not being covered. Event insurance is not being covered. Some people are saying, the government's going to make them cover it. If they make them cover it, then now your rates for everything else are going to go up. That money's going to have to come from somewhere. So, I don't know. A lot of small businesses, may close, but some, it's, things will just change, and, it's not like wrestling's going to go away, or, your small pizza store is going to go away, or small shop. Someone's going to be open, and you just got to, everyone has to figure it out. It's going to change, but okay, what can we do differently? Like going back to, my dad's small business, they changed years ago. Here's what we're doing right. Here's our, competitive advantage. Here's what we're doing right. And here's, I don't know. It's wild, man. But as far as insurance, I don't know. Insurance isn't my world, and how that's going to all shake out. That's the first I heard Wimbledon's going to get pandemic insurance. But
that's wild, though.
Wild. I'm gonna look that up when we get on.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I could show it to you as we're talking. What's wild is you were actually in retail. You were like you were en route to being like regional manager of like Target, right? Was it Target?
Well, I went back to grad school at Kent State and Target and logistics. So while I was in my master's, like I said, I can't decide to go back. Um, so
How brutal is that?
yeah, yeah, brutal, man. That's already changed crazy for the most part. And, they're going to continue to change those, right? Retail is going to be, a big changer. So
Okay, Wimbledon is going to get 141 million. I said 144 million, and they were paying $2 million a year in pandemic insurance, and they did it back with SARS in like 2001.
So they brought that back down, huh?
So 2001, 19, they've paid what, 38 million?
Mm-hmm.
30, they paid 38 million. They're going to get 141 million.
Wow.
So they're why are we paying this? Let's get rid of this pandemic. That's the first thing you cut, right?
Right.
Okay, 17 years ago. So they've paid 34 million into the pandemic, and they're going to get 141. So they're good for a year. They're good. They can actually let this thing go a whole nother year because it's in July.
Right.
We'll be up and running in July of 2021.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think we will, but
we're in a position. We'll be, if next year doesn't happen, we'll still be all right. So we're not going anywhere.
Jared, what do you think the biggest thing you want kids to get out of youth sports is? Because you don't just do wrestling, you do football. I cover the football championships. You do cheerleading, you do wrestling. What else are you in?
Just those three.
What do you want kids to get out of this?
Well, I hope kids get out of it through the parents and the coaches that you gotta learn to overcome whatever life throws at you. It's you've seen that, right? Would you have a crazy knee injury in high school? Not crazy, but what, you tore your ACL? Would you tear?
I tore everything. But my PCL.
So obviously that you got to learn through that, and with this, it kind of some things are out of your control. You got to learn what you can control, and hopefully these coaches and parents are teaching the kid, okay, this is what's happening, this is what we control, here's what we can do, and just keep things in perspective, because it's we're all in the same boat here. What we can do and can't do, and for the most part. So hopefully that's what they get out of this is, okay, let's control the control. Here's what I did right. Here's what I did wrong. Here's what I'm going to do better next time.
You say you have no regrets about going to Kent State and wrestling, and you could have gone to the Big Ten. You had probably offers a bunch of other places. That fork in the road when it comes to being a target manager and going and working for a youth sports organization. Would you change anything about that?
No, I learned a lot there, and I'm doing what I love. It's I enjoy what I'm doing and getting the people I get to be around. Right? I mean, it stinks though. Some at these events, when you come running into a tournament and give me the brackets, or give me this person, with this information. I don't really get to spend as much quality time with people at these events sometimes. You and Neiman and Gore, I get to talk to you guys at events, but it's not, always the best quality time. But it puts me around people, like you guys. We talk from time to time, and those type, the Guy Seikos of the world, and it's all those types of people that I get to be around. Makes me appreciate what I'm doing, and obviously I wouldn't change it. I love what I'm doing. I think anybody would if they're a wrestling fan. So I wouldn't change anything. It's it puts me around great people, and it's fun.
Is there a better partner than Defense Soap? Is there, honestly? I want you to think about it. Is there a more fair person to deal with in the wrestling world than Guy Seiko and Defense Soap?
He was putting the building up, and he's like, "Hey, what's your brother's number? I got to get blinds up." And that's how small businesses work, right? You spend with small businesses, and then people remember that, and that's kind of how wrestling is, right? I mean, you're just talking about John Smith. How accessible was he? When you as a kid, no other sports are you like that. So I mean, it's real easy to figure out who are good people and who aren't, right? Real quick.
Well, it's like crazy because You roll up on him with the wrong college hat, and dude, he could have told me to go kick rocks. He even said it wrong OSU, but like he didn't have to sign my hat. He could have gone like, "Go, hey man, go kick rocks." Like here's the other crazy thing. Everyone's like, they're always like, "Hey, can you get me Guy Seiko's information?" The guy's always like, "Zeb, my phone number's on the website."
Right.
It literally rings into my phone. If people want to talk to me, I'm accessible. And that's the crazy thing about him. And it's like, dude, you go there, and I go there, and Charlie Agazino, Dan, and there's Leah, and then there's Charlie, Dan, Leah, and Gus Seiko. Gus Seiko's working like a dog every time I go there. It's crazy. I'm like, dude, why aren't you out? Like, you got a degree from UVA and you're boxing soap, but I think they like the grind of it.
You got the degree, but they probably love what they do. You can make all the money in the world doing something you hate, but why? Right?
Yeah, you're right. And Charlie's got a Cornell degree, and Charlie Agazino's a genius. It's crazy though, because a lot of those St. Ed's guys, they're all cut from like the same cloth. They're not obviously family, but it's like Joel Greenlee told me he's like on the bike path near Athens or out by his house. Right. And he says he sees Heffernan out. Heffernan runs 12 miles a day.
I see that.
What's the guy doing?
I watch your stuff, Zach.
Yeah, but well, it's just like Nemeth.
Yeah.
Dude, Nemeth's working out in his backyard every day. Nemeth's doing push-ups and squats and cardio, and do you realize, like, dude, there's another St. Ed's guy. It's like they're maniacs and workers, but I just don't know if you're going to beat those people at much. I don't know if you're going to beat them at business.
And it doesn't quit, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, and it's like they're fanatically not quitters. Like they just keep going and going and going and going. It's just like, you remember Mike Tolar. Think about how hard Mike Tolar worked.
Tolar, yeah.
What's this like Jeremy Orsky? He owns a small business. Collision, right? Collision repair. Auto body collision, like that guy.
Right. Jason's in financial planning. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're just like, I don't want to go up against those guys in much. I want to be on their team.
Right.
Yeah, okay. What do you got for me? Anything else?
No, man. How's you guys doing good? Sarah doing good?
Yeah, Sarah works like a crazy person.
Yeah.
She's calling students. We all have students who have difficulties, whether it's if they don't have internet, and she's trying to make sure that kids that don't have access to her online classes.
A great school system, right?
It's the best school system.
Right.
So they really go above and beyond for their kids, and I think my wife is going. She wants to like mail them physical paper pencil packets if they need it, and that's awesome. And I wish I had more teachers like that. I wish I could be a teacher like that. I mean, she's just into it, man, and she's just fully into it, and she spends more time now. Like a lot of people, oh, you're off. My wife's not off, I can tell you that much. I don't have any sessions today, but I do 3 half-hour sessions Monday through Thursday. And they're Zoom sessions, and then I do lectures and put them on my school YouTube and post into the Google Classroom. And then I have quizzes, and then kids are doing current issues articles. So as a teacher, for me, I just don't like being not physically in my classroom to where I can like talk to the kids and they can see how crazy I am.
You're a social person, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's a little different.
Yeah, so that's what sucks for me. Whereas my wife's not super social.
What's the obstacle with that the Zoom, and what's the biggest obstacle with those sessions?
Well, I figured this thing, there's a waiting room you can put people in. When they don't put their name in and they don't use their full name, you're gambling when you let somebody in who you don't, if they use a nickname or something like that. So one kid didn't have his full name, and I never let him into the meeting. And the kid was like, why wouldn't you let me in the meeting? And I'm like, you got to use. And then like some people would get in the meeting and
security issues, right?
Yeah, it's security issues with stuff like that. But I think I don't want to end up on Barstool Sports as a funny, look at what we did in our Zoom meeting today. I'm a savage, or my teacher's a savage, and because you know they're doing that the whole time. They're Snapchatting, and it's just like to the point where you really don't have a lot of control over that, especially when they're 30 miles away, right? I mean, you have no control.
No control.
So I think that's the big thing with that. That's the big challenge there. I don't really care about that. I mean, whatever. You end up on Barstool Sports, It's out of your control. And you kick the kid off and you ban them from the class, and now they're only able to interact through watching videos and emails, which has got to suck for them. Unless they just genuinely hate education, which you probably have some of that.
Run into that, right?
Yeah, sure, right? But the biggest challenge, though, is just not being able to, like, interact with the kids in person. Right? They can see. I got this damn. I have a damn coffee mug. I have a Hoover damn coffee mug, and I have Hoover damn paperweight.
I remember those.
And I tell these like corny Hoover damn jokes.
Yeah.
Every Friday they got to put their quiz underneath the.
Was it you and Cac doing that video?
Yeah. Brian Keck and I did a damn video. And then what's wild is I bought the damn paperweight from the damn gift shop, where I took a bunch of damn videos and damn pictures. And if you got any damn questions, I can show you the damn pictures and damn videos. It's corny, but it's like the kids get that, like you're into whatever, you're there for their entertainment largely, and to get them engaged and maybe some learning that's not super exciting. Right. I like telling the story about Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr and the duel. I mean, we're doing the election of 1800, which ended actually in a tie, and the House of Representatives decided it. And Alexander Hamilton and John Adams, they largely influenced the House of Representatives vote on it. We're way past that, but now we just did election of 1824, which John Adams was third in that election of 1800 because Thomas Jefferson won. Aaron Burr was runner-up, and then John Adams, who's the second president of the United States, he was part of influencing the vote, him and Alexander Hamilton, so that Jefferson won. Burr was runner-up. So I want you to think about this. In 1800, Aaron Burr was the vice president. So that would be like now Hillary Clinton being the vice president. Just think about that. We changed it. We amended the Constitution. I think it's the 12th Amendment. I could be wrong. Yeah, I think it's the 12th Amendment. 11th or 12th. I'd have to look real quick on I have the app on my phone, the Constitution app. But long story short, the House of Representatives picks the president if someone doesn't hit, either it's a tie or someone doesn't hit the threshold of, it's 270 electoral college votes now because there's 538 electoral college votes. But if you do the math there, Jared, 538 is an even number. Can you have a tie in the presidential election?
Correct. Right.
And when you do, it's 269 to 269. They don't hit the threshold of 270, so nobody wins anyway. So here's the crazy thing about that, Jared. You can go to a vote, and the person, neither one of those people that tied, you could have a third party that could win because the House of Representatives could elect them. And we've done that twice in history. We did it in 1824 as well. Andrew Jackson lost to John Quincy Adams, and his dad, John Adams, was in that 1800 election, which ended in an actual tie. In 1824, it didn't end in a tie. Nobody hit the threshold. I think it was 130 electoral college votes. I could be wrong there. Now it's 270, but I think Andrew Jackson had the most electoral college votes. He had 99, and he won by 50,000 popular votes, which means nothing. We know now. And then John Quincy Adams actually won in the House, and he became president. And then they ran it back 4 years later, and Jackson crushed him. He crushed John Quincy Adams in 1828. So, Jared, you had no interest in anything I just said. Imagine being 13.
I'm sure you do a good job.
But you get my point. Like, you got to engage him. You got to find a way. Like, you're telling stories. You're telling stories about, I mean, dude, 30 plus guys were led through the American West by a 30 plus rough and tumble guys were led by Sacagawea through the American West by a teenager who carried her baby with her.
And you got to
think about that. But that's a great story. That's a great story.
Yeah.
And there's just like things like the greatest coincidence in American history. Like, I want to say it was the Shoshone or whoever it was. They're rolled up on a tribe and they needed horses from them to get through the Bitterroot Mountains and the Rocky Mountains. Well, this tribe had all intentions of just killing them and keeping their guide, killing these 30 plus guys and keeping the guide. The guide was Native American. She had a son, John Baptiste, Sacagawea. And as they're like starting to do the translation, they walk up and the chief who's talking to Lewis and Clark and Charbonneau, which is the husband of Sacagawea, the chief and Sacagawea are like overcome with emotion. So this tribe that's just going to kill them, it's going to kill Lewis and Clark and the 30 guys that are with them. They're going to like keep the woman and her kid. They're like overcome with emotion. Well, 10 years earlier, Sacagawea was kidnapped in a raid. The chief was her brother. So, I mean, it's just like Oliver Hazard Perry. We all know that story. Dude, Oliver Hazard Perry was on a sinking ship. He got on the raft. They paddled through the Battle of Lake Erie, through the cannonballs and ships ramming him. And he went to the USS Niagara and he commanded the rest of the battle and defeated the British and broke the British blockade in the War of 1812. So it's like these are like Americans we're crazy. It's like it's like Orsky's crazy, Mike Tolar's crazy, Nemeth's crazy, Guy Seiko is crazy. But these, you know what I mean? Like it's the American spirit, man. Like Oliver Hazard Perry was out of his mind. You know, George Washington to a large degree, he was out of his mind. Your dad, to a large degree, the things your dad, he's out of his mind. My dad is out of his mind.
Probably at the time, they probably didn't think, right? And in hindsight, they're like, whoa.
Well, yeah, it's like, dude, they're doing, and like, we're talking like, our dads just work real hard, right? They work real hard and they think pretty smart.
You hear stories, I'm sure your dad, like, whoa, how did you do that?
Yeah,
and time to think about it, right?
Yeah, it's just like, Joe Williamson got stuck in a 13,000 foot mountain pass in Colorado and drove back down the mountain so he could live. That's nuts. That's nuts. Like, dude, if his car goes off the road, he's going to tumble down the mountain.
Did you tell that in your interview?
Yeah, and he went back to a hotel and they like had they didn't have any beds left, and then a rabbit out of a hat, and they had a room, but dude, like people do crazy things. Not even like stupid crazy, well, they're stupid too, right? Like taking a teenage girl with you with a baby to guide you along a dangerous journey with like grizzly bears. Right? Yeah, through like large rapids. All right, we got another one here. What's
up, dude?
This is Thomas, the German.
What's that?
He's the German.
The German.
It's a German.
What do you have?
What do you got there? Oh, they made their own stress balls.
There you go.
They made these out of these like silicone. My mother-in-law sent like some science kit, some nerdy science kit. They did an experiment together.
Yeah, like the subscription things, or
I just have a mother-in-law who's an ex-science teacher.
Oh, nice.
She sends things.
I got a good mother-in-law too.
I got a really good one. She's awesome. Well, Jared, we've been on over an hour here, buddy.
Okay.
Do you got anything else for me? Any questions for me? Anything you want to ask me?
I was, not the long story, but we touched on it. But the NCAA, what's it going to look like? What's this all going to mean for wrestling? The short answer, right?
I think that a lot of these teams, these mid-major teams, I think it's going to end up looking like men's gymnastics, unfortunately.
Right.
I think you're going to see 20 or 25 programs that are going to stick it out. Here's what's going to happen. I think you're going to see in 15 years, and Joel Greenlee said this, he's like, what his college coach told him, we got to innovate. That's what's going to happen. How about that? Yeah. If we innovate, we'll be okay. if we don't innovate, Kent State, Cleveland State, Edinburgh, Clarion, OU, Northern Illinois, Central Michigan, Campbell. I don't know. App State. They're not going to Chattanooga. They're not going to have programs. And what it'll look like men's gymnastics and with 25 teams or 20 teams. And Ohio State's going to be fine. Iowa's going to be fine. Penn State's going to be fine. Cornell's probably going to be fine. Michigan's going to be fine. The service academies are probably going to be fine. The traditional Big Ten's going to be fine. The traditional 4 in Big 12 are going to be fine. Iowa State, Oklahoma State. Mizzou will probably actually be fine because they got SEC football. Lehigh will be fine, right? We can sit here and name 20, 25 programs that we know are going to be fine. Yeah.
They've already, not a whole factor, right? I mean, it's a lot of factors, but the image and likeness thing, right? From football and basketball, that's going to be another, right?
Yeah.
Not good for us, right?
Yeah, and the other thing is, it's like Princeton has, if you look at endowments, Harvard and Princeton should never drop wrestling. They should never drop wrestling because their endowments are just disgusting. Mm-hmm. When you look at endowments, the Ivies had the biggest endowments.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is how it is. Columbia should never drop wrestling. But I think it comes down to that. Then at that point, I don't know if it's a money thing. It becomes a political thing. We'll see, man, because the endowments, they have billion-dollar endowments, but a lot of your endowments are obviously variable upon the market, right?
Oh, and they're probably designated to where they're going.
Yeah.
Sure, if you're donating the money, it's all right. This is designated for this program or this, institution, part of the institution. I doubt any of that's for wrestling, right?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. So it's earmarked for physics or what, right? I mean, or the school, the Wharton School of Business.
Image and likeness, right? That money is going to come from somewhere. Right?
Yeah, and then Penn should never drop, but hey, we'll see. Once again, Penn has a huge endowment. Yeah, Jared, I think that there has to be some innovation on our part. We can't rely, we have a donor, Bill Drypolcher. He owned the Zephyr Realty Company in San Francisco Bay Area.
Right.
I don't think we can expect, I had a half-hour conversation with him yesterday. I don't think we can expect Bill Drypolcher to stroke a $25 million check to Kent State wrestling. And then if Bill Drypolcher, he passes away, he's in his 70s. He was an Army Ranger in Vietnam. And then Kent State moves the goalpost and takes his money. Well, you know what? We're actually going to build a new science building here. The Liquid Crystal Institute needs this, or you know what I mean? It's just, yeah, it makes me sick that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bum you out.
No, it's just, and I think you're going to have some schools that are just going to have to move to club.
Right.
You don't think I'm constantly thinking about it? You don't think it's constantly on my mind?
And, you're hearing all kinds. Like you said, you're a learner, so you're talking to all these people, and you kind of. I'm just curious.
My thing is though, I'm not it's like who I like Willie, but I'm not a scoop guy. I'm not a when people tell me stuff, and I'm under the impression that they told me that in confidence. Everything I try and keep off the record, man. Right. Even when people are like, "Oh, hey, I want to," somebody wanted to commit through me. They're like, "Hey, we want to announce my commitment through you," and I'm like, I said, "Dude, that's just Flow Wrestling does that, or the what do you call it? Track Wrestling does that. That's just not me. I'm not your best route. I'm flattered that you think that you feel that way about me, but I'm not a news breaker. I'm not a. That doesn't matter to me. I don't care. That's not like what. Some person on Instagram is like, dude, you put all these awesome videos on here and they're only getting hundreds of views. I don't care.
Right. Well, tell me to shut up when I tell you ideas.
Well, you know what I'm saying?
Just tell me to shut up.
Anonymous guy. Well, no, your ideas are great. Putting this into an audio podcast, that's the way to do it. you know, and then
Either to motivate you, but no, you're doing. You know what I was thinking though? Maybe it's better that way because then it's uninterrupted, right?
well, yeah, and then
You
when
gotta
stuff,
watch it and you kind of.
yeah, when stuff becomes about money, then it changes things, and if you got a gun to your head about views or listens or accesses or shares or likes or because that can be poison to you. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Well, whoever's saying, "Oh, you're only getting 100 views," they're not. They're probably only watching it on YouTube. They're not seeing it on your
Yeah.
your Facebook page or Ohio's Facebook page. It's really more than that.
I'd like to dig the conversation I had up with this person. And I was like, well, I don't think that's why I do it.
Yeah, right.
Or I was like, cool, man. Or I don't care, or something along those lines. But I don't even know who it was. And it's not like a dig on whoever the person. I don't even know who it was because it was just like, wow, why are you doing this stuff if it's not getting watched or it's really good content and more people should be watching? And they're probably right, but like, I just don't care. That's not why I did it. You know? So, all right. I'm gonna go in here.
All right. Tell Sarah hello.
I will. And dude, thanks for the time. Thanks for the time. This you'll be able to go and watch the live video immediately from my phone right here.
Okay.
And then I'll cut this and we'll talk a little bit off camera, all right?
All right.